Hey you guys, it's your girl Lovely T, and I want to come on here and talk to you guys about a serious case that's coming out of nutty ass New York. What's going on is that we have a young man. He's now 21 years old. His name is Kalief Browder. And Kalief was literally locked up for 3 years in Rikers Island. He went in at the age of 16. This young man was coming home from a house party, and basically he was accosted by the police. He was accused of, robbing somebody of a backpack, and he ends up going to jail. They tell him that, he just has to come down there. They let him out. He gets down there. They end up arresting him. His mother does not have $10,000 in bail money, and poor Kalief ends up sitting in prison for the next 3 years. Then in 2013, he was just let go. No explanation, no apology, no nothing. This young man lost so much time. This young man literally lost the rest of his teen years. I want you guys to check out these news clips. I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary.
In May of 2010, 16-year-old Kalief Browder was walking home from a party with a friend when he was stopped by police. An officer said a man had accused them of stealing his backpack.
They came out the police car and they searched us, and we didn't have anything on us, so I asked them, can I go home? Can we leave now? The police officer, he told me and my friend, he said, oh, don't worry about it. We're just gonna take you to the precinct and most likely we're gonna let you go.
A high school sophomore like millions of others in America with a love for basketball and professional wrestling. Kalief was arrested and charged with robbery.
They set my bail for $3,500. My mom told me she didn't have the money, and it was true. She didn't have the money. $3,500 was a lot for my mom.
The youngest of 7 siblings and 27 foster kids, Kalief was the baby of the family, and his mother was devastated when she couldn't make bail.
And that's when everything started.
He was taken to one of the toughest jails in the country, Rikers Island, where he would spend the next 3 years for a crime he says he didn't commit, without ever going to trial.
The only thing on my mind was I gotta go home. I didn't do this. Now I'm in jail around these grown men, and they're fighting each other, and I don't know. It was like hell on earth. We were beaten. We were beaten, stomped by the correction officers, hit with weapons. They cuffed me to the back, and they was just beating on me while I was in the cell. They was just beating on me.
He endured so many physical beatings from corrections officers that he attempted suicide on several occasions.
3 years of beatings, gang violence, and over 900 days in solitary confinement, all while he waited for a court date that never came.
On June 23, 2011, the district attorney's office indicated that they weren't ready for trial. August 4, 2011, not ready. November 4, 2011, and April 27th, on June 29th, the people were not ready to start the trial. Approximately 30 court dates over 3 years of incarceration. Everything about this case is outrageous.
The judge told me if I plead guilty, I would release from jail that same day, but I didn't do it. You're not gonna make me say I did something just so I could go home. If I gotta stay here 5 more months just to prove that I'm innocent, then so be it. It's just heartbreaking, and it's like, I felt like they were just playing with my life.
In June of 2013, all charges against Kalief were dropped, and he was released from jail. But by then, he'd missed his junior year in high school, his senior year, proms, graduation.
I lost my childhood. I lost my happiness. Deep down, I'm a mess because it's like I'm 21, and in the inside, I feel like I'm 40. I always believed in standing up for what I felt was right. And if I would have just been guilty, then my story would have never been heard. Nobody would have took the time to listen to me. I'd have been just another criminal.
All right, so you guys just watched the news clip. So this went down in 2013, and now this story is resurfacing again because now there is proof to everything Kalief was saying back then in 2012 and 2013. Video has come out of corrections officers beating up Kalief, him getting jumped by gang members. These videos are just so sad. I want you guys to go ahead and watch this news clip, and I'm gonna come back with the rest of my commentary.
To those video clips taken apparently at Rikers Island in 2012 and 2010. These are parts of the video exclusive posted on the New Yorker website. The clips obtained show 2 instances at Rikers involving Kalief Browder. The first clip showing then 16-year-old Browder and a guard there. The other clip showing Browder with other inmates in a violent encounter. According to the Bronx District Attorney's Office, in May 2010, Browder, then a 16-year-old high school sophomore, was arrested in the Bronx. He was taken to Rikers, and according to DOC records, he spent the next 3 years there. According to the New Yorker, his case kept getting delayed. The Bronx DA's office says that case against him was dismissed in May 2013. And we reached out to the City Department of Corrections on these video clips. In a statement, a spokesperson says, quote, "Safety for staff and inmates is Commissioner Ponte's top priority, and DOC is looking into this incident, which occurred prior to Commissioner Ponte's arrival at the department. The commissioner's recently announced 14-point anti-violence initiative is directly aimed at promoting a culture of safety at Rikers Island." And of course, we'll be following up on this one, keeping tabs on it for now.
So you guys just watched the news clip, and I'm not gonna front to y'all. When I sat and I really watched this story, like, I was crying. I was crying for this kid like he was my son, because you guys know I have a 14-year-old child. And I couldn't imagine my son going to a party at 16 and coming home, you know, on his way home, and then getting arrested, and me not seeing my child for the next 3 years over something that he did not do. You know, this to me is just straight and utter bullshit, that an innocent person can spend 3 years in one of the most violent jails in this country. When I tell y'all that the prison industrial complex is real, if y'all don't believe that it's real, this story better wake you the hell up. There was no other reason for this young man to spend all that time in jail other than the state of New York is making money off of him being there in that jail. This whole situation is damn ridiculous. I don't understand all the bureaucracy. I don't understand all the red tape. How does it take 3 years for a child to be able to see a courtroom? The nerve of them to try and tell him to plead guilty, and then, you know, everything will go away, he can go home. I'm proud of him for saying, you know what, I'm not going to plead guilty. If I have to sit here for the next 5 years, I'll sit here and rock. I'm not pleading guilty to nothing that I didn't do. I'm proud of him for that, because had he pled guilty, they probably would have charged him with some type of felony. You know, it probably would have affected him a lot worse, especially being that he didn't do anything wrong. You know, this whole situation is insane. It would be really cool if these same prosecutors ended up doing 3 years themselves in Rikers Island and see how they like that shit. This young man who's now 21 years old has lost 3 years of his life. He missed the rest of his sophomore, junior, and senior year. No prom, no nothing. Had to deal with real criminals. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing if you're a criminal as well, but this child did nothing wrong. And he had to deal with real criminals, real thugs, real gangbangers, getting picked on, getting beat up. Who knows if this young man was raped, molested? Anything could have happened to him in Rikers. You know, and I know people who have done time. I know people who are currently doing time. And when I say time, I'm talking about damn near 30 years in prison. So it's just like, the whole situation to me is just crazy. You know, prison is one of those situations that I've never been to jail. I've never been to prison, thank God. But I've heard enough horror stories from my homeboys and from people I know who have done time that it's not a place for any human being. You know, the things that you go through in jail, the things that you go through in prison, it turns you into an animal. It's a blessing that this young man has been able to come out as articulate and as well put together as he is, because a lesser person would be bitter, would be angry, probably come out of there knowing that they didn't do anything wrong and kill the first person that they see just to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm so used to being in prison for what I didn't do wrong, now let me do something wrong and y'all send me back. You know, this is just crazy to me that this could happen to this young man. It's going to take years for this young man to fully recover from what he went through at Rikers Island. On top of that, they had solitary confinement where you can't see anyone, you can't speak to anyone. He spent a lot of time in solitary because he kept getting beat up by people. So it's going to take a long time for this young man to fully heal. But this young man deserves to sue the entire Rikers Island jail system, the state of New York. He deserves to get paid for this situation, point blank. I know it's not gonna bring back them 3 years, Kalief, but you deserve to get paid, because nobody deserves to get treated like that, especially when they're innocent. Like I said, if it's one thing, if he had robbed somebody, if he had did somebody wrong, like the other teen who got beat up in jail, but it's another thing when you're innocent, you're just coming home from a party and a police officer decides to pick you out randomly out of a crowd and throw your ass in jail behind some bullshit. Because what happened to Kalief could happen to any of us. You know, that could be anybody's child out there. And I just think that it's disgusting he ended up staying in jail for 3 years behind something that he did not do. Point blank. And then he didn't receive an apology. He didn't receive anything. They just threw him out back into the street like, you're free to go. But it's like, damn, what about these 3 years I done spent in there innocent? Somebody definitely has some explaining to do, and I really hope that he is getting ready to prepare to file a lawsuit now that these videos have come out, basically reconfirming everything that this young man was saying. Because when he first initially came out in 2012 and 2013, folks weren't believing him. They're saying, well, that's jail, you know, you're just over-exaggerating. The COs will never put their hands on you. They're there to be professional. And we now see the videos of the CO pulling him out of his jail cell, slamming it on the ground. Kalief didn't do nothing to this man. He didn't hit this man. You know, so the whole situation is just a mess. This story just disgusts me and it just breaks my heart. So anyways, y'all, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Let me know your thoughts on this entire situation concerning Kalief. How do you feel about him spending 3 years in prison for a crime that he did not commit? And then how do you feel about the state basically letting him out, not giving him any type of apology, any type of explanation? America has now turned into the land of the free and the home of the slaves. We are the only country in this world that has such a huge prison population. No other country in the world has so many people in prison. You have people in prison for some of the most pettiest crimes. I mean, it's just insane. It's just about making money. They just want to fill up a bed so that way they can get money for that person. It's just modern day slavery. That's all it is. And it's sad that even when you try your hardest to stay out of trouble and do the right thing, you can still find yourself behind bars. So anyways, y'all, go ahead and leave a comment. Let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. All right, deuces. Hey YouTube, it's your girl Lovely T, and you can show me some love by hitting that subscribe button, watching my previous videos, and following me on social media.